Good evening and welcome back to a Talk Town special. And you know it's me who's in charge because we've got a proper intro. And Steve's headline this week is Terriers take a point as Taylor puts MK Dons to the sword. Interesting title there, Steve. Usually when a team gets to the sword is when they've lost. But interestingly, it was a draw this weekend. But first of all, how are you, my friend? Did you have a nice away day?
Good, yeah, good. I've got in your head though there, haven't I? First 30 seconds I've got in your head there. Oh, proper intro, mate. Anyway, sure. Right. Yeah, I had a good away there, mate. MK, I've never been to MK before. Interesting ground. You walk in and it's like a European fixture. Have you ever been to MK?
No.
So basically, you walk through these airport-style turnstiles, which is like genuinely a bit head-frazzling, and then you walk in, and it's like a European sort of stadium where you see the pitch. It's a bit weird, and then you go down and you sit down, and they're all padded, cushioned seats. I wouldn't want to sit on them in like with it being belting down, but yeah, it was nice and sunny, so it was all golden.
Oh, good, good. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. And by the way, Steve, talking of intros, Ben says the intro is back, and Paul says, "Long live the intro." Steve? Well, Steve. So yeah, you're talking about being in my head. Oh, we're all in yours, my friend.
Well, you know, because I have the last laugh because I made that intro for the podcast, not just this podcast, the entire channel. So I win.
Oh,
Crack on with your questions, Mr. Hall.
You're an absolute hero. Not all heroes wear capes, do they, Steve?
Well, no, because mine doesn't fit me anyway, so and I can't find it. It's in the back of my fridge.
Yeah, actually, spent too much time in that fridge. That's why. Good evening, everyone. I have seen your comments, John. I'll get into yours at some point, probably a little bit further on, even though you do say good evening. So evening to you as well, mate. Paul says, "Evening, guys. Hope you're all well." Paul, we are well, thank you. John, I've also seen yours back to. We've got John Eastwood who put a comment in already, and John Pearson. We'll come back to both of them ones, but again, I hope you're both well. And Ben, yeah. We'll probably come on to yours a little bit later on as well. And thankfully, they are clean to go through as well. Wherever you're tuning in from, make sure you do comment and let us know how you thought the game went this weekend. But it was Huddersfield Town 1, MK Dons 1. Steve went down to the MK Stadium. It was nice and padded seats for him, so he enjoyed that one. But I'm sure he was stood up for most of the game. Okay, Steve, let's go through the lineup then for Town. You can talk about that one for us. Matt Young, he was in goal. Bauer, Wallace, and Balke in the back three. Watmore was out of this game. Still no confirmation, really, of where he is, but the rumours are he might be injured. Sway and Bronkhorst were your two wing backs. Harness and Ledson were in the middle of the park. Fletcher was leading the line with Joe Taylor and Fernandez just behind him. How did you feel about the lineup? Again, a fairly strong one.
Yeah, I didn't want to see too many changes from the Wimbledon game, so we had obviously there was going to be one enforced change with Mumba. I expected Gooch to play. I thought he played safe and played Gooch, even though Gooch has played terrible so far this season. I was pleasantly surprised and pleased that he put Jay Sway in. Yeah, the rumours were seemingly correct, or seemed to have some truth to them about Watmore being injured. So I wasn't really surprised that Murray Wallace came in for Jack Watmore. I'm disappointed though because I really like Jack Watmore. I think he's a really good player at this level. I just wish he wasn't injured.
Yeah, he had a great start to the season. He was looking really well throughout the whole of pre-season as well. But Mark seems to say Watmore has a groin injury, expected to be out for 2 to 3 weeks. Well, I'll tell you what, if it is only 2 to 3 weeks, that is a really this might sound silly, but that's a good injury to be only out for that amount of time. That's a positive. That really is a positive. Okay, so it changes. Sway came in. We know what Sway can do. He had some good games last year. Pre-season for me was one of the standouts. Obviously, I was at the majority of the games. So you're quite happy to see him come straight in for Ballymumba, even though you mentioned that you thought Gooch might have come in.
I only thought Gooch would play because he was the safe option. So I was pleasantly, like I said, surprised that he put Jay Sway in. I mean, I've always liked Jay Sway. I've watched him for the academy for a number of years now. So I think he's better out wide. But I know through the years he has played different sort of positions, hasn't he? So yeah, I was happy. I was happy with the lineup.
Yeah, just Wick, he can play in the middle of the park as well if needs be, but it was nice to see him a little bit further out wide. As Paul says, Sway was solid cover. We'll come up to 3 more comments as well. As we keep going on, I'll bring some of them further in when it's a bit more relevant, but I already like seeing what you've seen, Cheesy, Paul, as well. You put another one a little bit further in there. Okay then, Steve. For me, this game is... weirdly, I think there's 2 ways I think people have felt this game have gone. I think some people think Town have dominated for the first half, and some that didn't think they played too well, but they got the results. So let's talk about the first half. Joe Taylor, let's just go straight into it, because I was so keen for Joe Taylor to score in pre-season. It just wasn't happening for him. Last week he gets taken off early due to the red card, but this week it was going to happen, and he finally gets his first goal this season, and I'm just so pleased for him. How did you see the first half? And let's talk up to Joe Taylor's first goal before we bring Oliver in, who's he's in and around as well now. He's finally joining us.
Yeah, I there was a lot of talk before the game. I talked to a few fans both on the way to the game, but also in sort of messages and stuff, and we were all saying, we really wanted Joe Taylor to get off the mark, because he worked so hard last week, didn't he? And he deserves to have a bit of kudos. We're getting a goal, and I thought we started really well. I thought we were bright. I thought we were in control. We didn't. I wouldn't say. I know we disagree on this point, but I wouldn't say we dominated, as in like dominated the ball. But I definitely thought we were the team that started the game better in terms of wanting to create chances. I thought Fletcher was particularly pretty influential in the first 15 minutes. They didn't seem to really handle him very well, and then when Taylor got through for his goal, we were at the other end, so I thought he chipped the goalkeeper, but it was one of them where he's hit it underneath the goalkeeper, and it's like sprayed off his backside and or gone underneath his body, and it's like looped up into the goal. It was a good finish. It was a calm finish. It was a finish that you would expect a striker of quality of Joe Taylor to finish. So we were all delighted, to be honest, in terms of how Town started. There were a lot of comments behind me saying, I think from a few fans that had not got to the Wimbledon game or the Preston game or the Blackburn game, and it was the first time they'd seen Town this season, and they were kind of saying that they thought it were better football, not much passing around at the back, trying to get it forward into the wide areas, particularly with Fernandez and Jay Sway on the other side. So yeah, I was really happy, and I thought we deserved to take the lead game with Taylor's goal. He also worked hard off the ball again in that first 15 minutes, and I thought that's a bit of a telling attitude change maybe from last season's frustrations.
I was watching, and I'm just urging him to just go.
Is that my internet or is that Kane's? I feel like that might be Kane's. Oliver, can you hear me?
Just about. Hello. I think we're still live, aren't we?
Yeah, we're still live. I think Kane might have gone.
I thought I meant to have internet connectivity issues, but hey, that's the way of the world.
No, Kane's gone. Right, anyway, sorry about this, guys. We've just got some technical issues. Kane might be back. Kane's back.
There we go. Hello.
I'm back. A bit of poor internet there. I'm sorry, everyone. I think we might have missed a fair bit there, but I did bring Oliver in, obviously, and asked him how he was. And I'm assuming, Oliver, you'd said, yeah, I'm pretty well, thank you.
No, you didn't even do that.
Didn't even get that in.
Skills. No.
Unbelievable.
Missed out on that one, sadly.
Well,
you can ask me now, though.
I hope you will.
Just to reiterate, Kate, I don't know if you heard any of my answer, but yes, I thought Joe Taylor had a particularly good start to the game.
Yes.
Everybody else heard the answer, so I won't recap it.
No, I did hear that. I thought the shot just to get the ball in the back of the net for me was a massive relief. Just to see Joe Taylor's shot go in the back of the net, because in pre-season is it the post, the crossbar, back of the net, and it's not counted. So just to see that was excellent. Okay, Oliver, welcome. I hope you're well, my friend. We're just talking about the first half up towards Joe Taylor's goal. Again, you'll have been watching from afar. To see Joe score must have been great. And Ben, yeah, I do appreciate your comment. Thanks. It must have been great to see Joe score.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you said before. Sadly, I was a bit late filming a few bits of penguins and horses, but hey-ho, here I am. So, yeah, in terms of the first half, I mean, the amount of space on the field we had, or MK Dons gave us, was incredible, whether we were playing sort of a high line and using the wings. But yeah, Joe Taylor, I mean, he was on fire anyway. His pace in his goal, incredible. He just turned on a new gear. He managed to get the engine running, beat his man, and then yeah, maybe the keeper could have done a little bit better. But hey ho, at least a goal for Joe Taylor, and you could kind of feel that sort of maybe that weight, or maybe building that confidence in Joe Taylor for the future. And like I say, he's there. He's done his job as a striker. He scored goals, and he could have got a lot more, to be honest with you. But you know, I'm sure we'll talk about some of the incidents later on. But yeah, like I say, great for him to be on the score sheet.
Yeah, I think you're right. It definitely was a weight off the shoulders. As we continue talking about this first half, a couple of comments I'm going to bring up. Mark says, Paul Warren admitted that we tore them a new one in the first half. Our pace and movement up front, it really hurt them. Also, Paul says, we've got to keep playing Taylor. He looks up for it every game so far, and I think we're playing to his strengths. So talking about playing to his strengths then, Steve, is it worth just playing him a little bit behind the striker where he can run a little bit further onto the ball? Then he's got that chance to open up his legs a little bit more.
Yeah, he spoke about this after the game, didn't he? Where he kind of was. He said it's a new type of role from him, because I feel like he's always been played as the man on the sort of the last man to play off the defender's shoulder. Where this one he's playing sort of just in behind Fletcher, and I think it really suits him. I think he can. It's like, if you imagine going on, like if anybody out there watches Speedway, when there's a car behind, and then as they overtake, they get into the forward car's slipstream. It's kind of like that, really. So they don't expect that runner coming through. So I think for Taylor, it's sort of maybe a really new found sort of attribute of his, and obviously we know he's got a bit of pace. We know he doesn't mind muscling in with the bigger centre backs. So I think we might have, God for everybody touch a bit of wood now, we might have found a bit of positional sense for Joe Taylor in this Huddersfield Town team.
Maybe so. So sending to Cheesy said Taylor like a new signing on and off the pitch. Very impressed with him. And Paul says should have been 4. Taylor was on fire again, robbed by another female official. Well, I'm not too sure it was just her, Paul, but we will talk about that one, won't we? And someone I do want to talk to is Mr. Cal Scott, who is joining us from Spain this evening. I'll tell you what,
international flavour.
Yeah, we are going international. We are absolutely worldwide. All we need now is Jed to comment on here from Australia, and we've completed it. Cal, I hope you're having a lovely holiday, and I hope you've got plenty of sun cream, because I can imagine what it's like for you in the hot sun and your ginger skin.
Hola, Terriers. Not to do Carlos Corberan, but it has been intense reporting here on the Costa del Sol. You know, it's been football, sunbathe, football, sunbathe, sangria, sun cream. So, you know.
So it sounds like you're having a lovely time then, my friend.
I'm currently missing the mini disco for this. So if my commitment to this podcast is ever questioned again, I'm going to bring this moment right up.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you just want to throw us a few moves now, just to make sure you haven't missed the disco, we're more than happy to see that.
I would, but I've got nowhere to stand my phone up. Sorry.
Okay, never mind then. What a shame that is. I would love to have seen you do the moonwalk.
Me too, to be honest with you.
Cal, okay. I
Matt
don't know how
Rennie.
much I don't know how much of the game you managed to watch, Cal, but you wanted to come on. You mentioned in our chat that you wanted to be on it, whether it's for 5 minutes or whatever. So you know the result. What was your thoughts on this? We're talking about the first half. We're talking about Joe Taylor currently. Any thoughts on that at the moment?
Yeah, I was impressed with the way we set up in the first half and the sort of intensity that we went after the game with. I thought it matched what we wanted to get out of the game, and for me that is in a nutshell, that's Drury ball right there. That first 45 minutes is what he wants the players to be doing all the time, and he wants to use Joe Taylor in a similar way to the way that Wigan used Joe Taylor to great effect last season, in that he's got so much in the locker in terms of what he can do, where he can be, how he can hold up play, but also the angles from which he can get a shot off. For a player of his size, it's not necessarily what you'd always expect, and I think it catches a lot of defences off guard. So for me, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and thoroughly bamboozling decision to take him off when he was taken off. But I'm jumping the gun there, so I'll let you get to that in good time.
Thank you. Are you staying on for a bit longer, or are you going to go down for a bit of a boogie on shortly?
I'll stay on for a bit and use the free Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? We got to take the perks.
Well, you might as well make the most of it, my friend. And yeah, Ollie, you mentioned about other chances. We talk about should have had 4 in that first half. Taylor has a second opportunity, doesn't quite get his footing right, and it's close to the goalkeeper. Town, should they have been 2-0 up by then?
Yeah, it should. Well, I mean, look, at the end of the day, at least we're getting them chances in there. Whereas, too many times last season we ended up sort of, sitting back a bit when we were leading. But this time, at least we took the game to them and moved it forward. At least he had these chances. But yeah, I mean, like I say, you would have thought maybe a second goal in there, but hey ho, that's the way it goes. And at least Huddersfield, at that time, I was proud of the performance, definitely. Going off the field at half time, I would have thought Huddersfield were played incredibly well. And it's just crazy because you look at this game and then you look at the Wimbledon game. Huddersfield were playing so wide. Our wingers were literally on the touchlines before they had to cut in, and it just seemed a different strategy, but it's clearly paid off.
Yeah, it certainly did a little bit. And as we're talking about getting up towards half time, Steve, there's more chances. There's the Fletcher chance, Sway having a couple of shots. But I think that the biggest talking point out of the whole, I would have said weekend, but Don Ballard scored an absolute wonderful goal in the Championship, which has taken a lot of what happened at Huddersfield, and we're also Premier League back as well. But it's very controversial, and it's something I didn't realise, because when Joe Taylor shoots from 30 yards away with an absolute rocket, by the way, and it cannons off the bar, bounces over the line, bounces back out, and we just carry on. What? No, there's no goal technology. There's no goal line technology, and we're in League One. That baffled me. But it also baffled me that, Steve, no one saw the ball go over the line apart from everybody in the stadium, apart from the 3 officials.
It was our version of the goal, wasn't it? You know what I mean? It's it will live long in the memory, this goal, I think. How it was a brilliant strike, by the way. He got it in the middle of the pitch, and he shows his confidence, doesn't it? Because okay, he missed the other chance. I thought he could have done a bit better with the other chance, actually. But it shows his confidence that all good strikers have to try again. And I genuinely think it is an absolute abomination how we're sat here in 2026 and the third tier of professional football in the home of football, England, hasn't got goal line technology. I understand not having VAR because when you've got teams like Bromley in there that have still got one man and the dog running the whole entire stadium, I understand not having VAR. But, and that's no disrespect to Bromley, but
it sounds like it was. It sounds like it was.
It is a bit, but you get the point. You get the point. But I do not understand how we can't have goal line technology in this league. It just absolutely, again, baffles me, like same as you. It was a great strike. It should have stood. We should have gone in at half time 2-0. I don't understand how the linesman's not seen it either, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I'd say what I would say is just to recap as well. That Fletcher should have done better with his chance. Sway could have done a bit better with his chance, and Taylor should have done better with his other chance. So we could have been 2-3 up at half time. Oliver sat live now at the John Smith Stadium.
he's made his way
standing.
It's safe standing's good. He's got his headphones in and he's ready. He's got his coke. He
didn't want to be anymore.
He just misses being there, doesn't he? Just misses being there. Right.
Just misses being in the away end.
Okay, let's go through a couple of comments then, because John Eastwood and John Pearson put two in very early on that I wanted to go through. John says, my question, does the competition run by the AFL operate under different rules? Goal line technology looks through as it operates in the Championship. Is this correct? So I think basically what John is asking, why is it only in the Championship and the Premier League when it's run why the EFL runs the whole leagues?
Because they're idiots.
Well, and John says only in the Championship, although it doesn't help us versus Blackpool a few years ago where Utah's goal not given. So it's just another one on the notch post, and that Town just don't have goal line technology. And John also says we had to remove our goal line technology when we were relegated. But it's an interesting one. Paul saying that even the MK Dons fans were saying it went in. Well, everyone was saying it went in because, well, it did go in. Ben's mentioned about the decision with some poor ones, including a handball in the second half, which we'll come on to Ben at some point. Ollie, I'm sure you'll have been watching it on TV. When you watched it, did you see it go in?
I mean, yeah, I thought it went in, but obviously I'm looking at it from the TV cameras. So, I've got to give a bit for the officials a bit of slack, because at the end of the day, it bounced back out. I know you're shaking. Okay, this is good for a debate. Come on. Because in such a split second, right, when you're there on that field and it bounces back out, you obviously can't, you've got to make a quick decision there. But I totally understand Steve's point, and I agree that we need goal line technology, because there would have been something on a wrist, on the referee's wrist, to say, yeah, it's gone in. But like I say, if you put yourself in their shoes, the official's shoes, you've got 1 or 2 seconds, and because it bounces back out, it's really difficult to make that decision. But I obviously saw it on the TV cameras, so it was a lot easier, and replays and X, Y, and Z. But yeah, no, like I said, I agree with Steve. I think maybe it's time to ask the question, do we have goal line technology in League One and League Two now?
I'm going to get a jingle for Oliver. Oliver's Red Watch.
I'm about to say, I'm glad Ollie's here to defend the referees, and that's why I went to him next, because I know Cal isn't going to defend the referees, and Cal that went
in. I'm not. I'm not, because I can't defend a decision like that. Based solely on the fact that we've had a World Cup summer, where there was so much put on giving the referees the tools to do the job, and giving respect to the referees and making sure the referees are doing the right job and doing the right thing all the time. And we were told at the time that this would be cascaded across the different confederations, and there was a review of refereeing. We've got a wonderful new head of refereeing in Howard Webb, and they've got all these review panels, and it goes from the top to the bottom. And yet every week, more than one mistake is made that changes or alters or has an effect on the result of games across every league. I find it more astounding that it happens in the Premier League because they've got VAR, etc. But it does still happen. And That's not to say mistakes won't happen. Mistakes are always going to happen. They are human, but they've got tools to be able to mitigate the margin for error that are not being used. Now, we can say that the linesman's not up with play because the linesman wasn't up with play at the time. So how they're meant to make a judgment call, I don't know. I have sympathy more for the referee because that's not the referee's job. That's the job of the linesman to make that decision because the linesman should be up with play, and they weren't at the time. So how are they supposed to make that call? But let's have it right. Football in this country is one of the most watched and certainly one of the most celebrated across the world. We play in the third division in that country, so we play in the league that makes the third most money across that pyramid on paper. And you're telling me that they don't have the funds to be able to allocate goal line technology across that pyramid. You wouldn't even need the funds to allocate it to everybody. You just switch it back on at places like Huddersfield and Leicester. The cameras are in place.
No, at Bromley, Steve, they just have man and his dog, wouldn't they, online? But yeah,
at Bromley, it's just a bloke on top of a step ladder with a video camera like that.
No, you're right though, Cal. I totally agree with you. It's not the referees. You know, she's a long way away from the ball because she has to be in the middle of the park. But the liner has to be seeing that one. And I think that's what's most disappointing because there was a lot of challenges, as you mentioned. They get the tools to do the job, and it seems to be a consistent thing where referees are getting it wrong. Now, an example is I was watching a bit of the West Brom Burnley game this afternoon, and the referee gets in the way. I think the problem is at the moment with referees, and Ollie, you might be able to come in here and probably defend them again, but they don't know how.
I'm gonna bounce out, chaps.
Okay,
all right.
Are you off, Cal?
It's been emotional.
Enjoy your boogie on, my friend.
Don't worry, mate. It's the Beijing Acrobats tonight. I can't miss that.
Oh, beautiful. Leotard on and everything for Cal. Enjoy yourself.
Go do it.
See you later, chaps.
See you later.
All the best.
Bye-bye. So the thing for me at the moment with the referees is they're not reading the game. You have to be able to read the game. Now, Ollie, with referees, like they try and position themselves in between the linesman or the linesperson on the side of the field, and then they go to the other side, don't they? So they can see across, basically, is how it would work. But then sometimes they're just reading the game wrong. And I think this is the biggest issue at the moment with the referees is decisions are being made wrong because they don't understand the game, they don't know the game, they've not played the game at some kind of level. So it makes it a lot harder to make these decisions.
You know, I understand obviously what you're saying, but like obviously the procedure to get to be an EFL referee is insane. The amount of work that they have to do, you know, from courses to assessments to, you know, you name it. It's years in the making that they've gone through this process. It isn't just we'll stick a referee on a game, you know what I mean? So there is a big process to follow. Because, you know, when I did my refereeing course, I realized you have to do 7 different levels to get to that position. And like I said, you start off in the lower leagues, we're talking tier 10, tier 9, etc., and then work your way up through assessments and things. But, you know, like I say, even with that, you can't be 100%. And like I say, you know, in Premier League and Championship, they have all this technology that can help them. But in the EFL League 1 and 2, yeah, I mean, like I say, it's basically just them three. You know, the linos and then the referee. And the best option they've got is you have the linos on either side, and then the referee goes in a diagonal from box to box. But yeah, like I say, sometimes, and obviously I'm not at that level, but sometimes you get kind of grasped in the moment and you lose your positioning as well. So yeah, it's tough for them, and like I say, I do feel for the referees definitely, but yeah, they do a lot of work to get to that position.
Yeah, maybe they should play football a little bit more often as well, I think.
Sorry.
Sorry, I just done the wind up for Ollie here. Go on, Ollie.
No, you are interested. No, interestingly, because, you know, like you've got journalists who talk and pundits that are former footballers. managers as well, that are former footballers. Interestingly, like I say, there's hardly any referees that are former footballers, it's quite an interesting part of football that,
I think there's one in the AFL. There's just the one in the AFL at the moment.
Okay.
Steve, you were going to mention something. Then I want to go on to some comments, and I'll go on to second half.
Yeah. It's just really quick. Two things really. Firstly, Graham Paul has been on a podcast recently, and what I didn't realise is he's an ex-journalist. So that was quite interesting. And the second one was, I don't know if you knew this, lads, but apparently they've changed the way that referees run in this country. Or there seems to be a suggestion that that's changed this season. So we have the standard rule of what you've just talked about, Kane, where they run diagonally to the ball and the linesman. Well, in European football, that's different. And I didn't realise this a couple of weeks ago, but it was explained while the World Cup was on that they have decided, or seemingly have decided, that we're going to be refereed on the European rules, where the referee moves differently on the pitch. So I don't know whether that's got something to do with some decisions being missed this season. I mean, it's not just been in our game. I've watched the first couple of weeks of the season, and it has happened quite frequently in the first couple of games. So.
Do you want a quick solution? Right? Make referees play more football. Get your linos to go down both sides all the way, not just a half, because you get coverage all over. And referees don't get in the way. Just stand a little bit behind, away from the ball, just so you can see everything that's going on. Anyway, let's move on, because we can talk about referees all day, all night, and I'm going to bed soon. Okay, so Ben says, to be fair to the lino, he's got a hard jog when it's on the last line of defence too, but he's fully switched on when he spots that. Lino missed a lot yesterday. The one where Fletcher hits the post was miles offside from the footage I saw, says Mark. So look, we've even had a chance from a potential position where the linesman might have got it wrong as well. And John says also the referees have to be 100% sure that it was over line. They cannot guess, which is very, very valid. Okay, 1-0 up at half time. Plenty of chances created. Town are looking good for the 3 points. What are we expecting in the second half, Ollie?
Cut off there, sorry. My internet's having a bit of a mess. So, second half, obviously going in at the break, looking good, feeling good, I thought. And then again, in the typical Huddersfield Town fashion, there's two questions that I was asking. Either we keep up that intensity on kind of drop off, or we end up sort of conserving our fitness and energy. And it seemed during as the second half went along, I mean, we still had the chances. MK Dons were still sort of, even though they were home, they were still sort of not massively attacking, attacking threat. I don't know whether it was fitness now or whether it was sort of lack of concentration. But yeah, we kind of put the foot off the gas compared to the first half.
Okay, and Steve, second half, we concede. Town go down the left-hand side. They get the ball into the box. And from having a touch in the box where we could have looked to try and take a shot, it's gone back out of the box. They've lost the ball. There's a counter-attack. Collins scores one apiece.
Yeah, but it all comes from Broncos' poor cross into the box. That's where that comes from. And we overloaded the box, which is good in one sense, but then we were left short at the back. It was a 3-on-2 counter, I believe. Somebody could say it's right. They had more than us on that counter anyway. And I think it was Bolker who couldn't get near Collins in the end because he was worried about the MK Dons player that was running it from the centre, and Collins whipped it in, and it was a decent goal. I don't necessarily think
it was a good goal.
Yeah, I don't think Young has any criticism against him for the goal, but yeah, we left ourselves open, and it was disappointing. We all felt a bit gutted, but I did say the moment it went in, I thought that goal was coming, Kane, to be honest.
Okay, so Paul says we let them play in the second half. It was like chalk and cheese. We looked burnt out. and poor defending from Broncos. But really, Steve, when Town are in that attacking position, balls was being put into the box, to then have to go and defend like that, should they really be conceding so quickly, or are we actually doing a bit of a dishearten here to MK Dons, and their counter attack was absolutely superb?
No, it was superb. No, it was a good counter attack. As I say, I thought we just overloaded the box, and Broncos' cross was very weak, and that led to why they could counter attack. If he gets the cross right, MK Dons don't have a chance to counter attack, basically.
Okay, and Ollie, how did you see that goal that Town conceded? What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, well taken goal, to be honest. As Matty Young had a little chance in goal there. It's a nice sort of place finesse shot, but again, it came from a counter attack, and if Broncos, would have got that cross in, we would have been 2-0 up, and it would have been a different story. So sadly, that's what I mean. You can't switch off against any team, even if you are looking like you are dominating the game. And like I say, MK Dons just proved that they managed to catch us and 1-1. But I mean, we still had chances. I'm sure we'll talk about it later on, but we still had more chances in the latter stages of the game. But I'm worried. I'm questioning fitness. I'm wondering maybe that's why we sort of switch off. Maybe we can't last that high intensity for 90 minutes.
Okay, so what makes you question the fitness then?
Well, because it happens quite often, doesn't it? And like I say, and we've got to be realistic. We are in League One. We're not Premier League, who are always high intensity all the time. And it always seems to happen. We always seem to start off well, get some good goals in there, and then switch off or try and conserve that energy. So again, it's just a theory. Obviously, the players will know the best, but it just seems to be happening quite frequently. Again, we were leading, and again, we kind of put the foot off the gas. So maybe we just can't sustain that for 90 minutes. But I guess not many teams at this level can they?
No, and Steve, your thoughts on what Ollie says?
Yeah, maybe we need to learn as a side when we can and can do that intensive pressure, and then when we need to conserve a little bit of energy. We're not Liverpool of 2017 where we can go hell for leather for 90 minutes. That's not what we're in League One for a reason. So I also didn't think the substitutions were very good on Saturday. I think he got his subs wrong, which I don't think helped our flow. And to be honest, I did think MK Dons were better in the second half. I thought Warren got his subs correct. I thought, okay, the MK Dons' formation didn't really change, but he'd obviously done something, had Warren, to mean that MK Dons were better in that.
Okay, well, let's come on to that then. I just want to touch on the fitness part very, very quickly. I don't think many teams right now are at full fitness.
No.
In all fairness. It wasn't until the Blackburn game in pre-season that some players actually got 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So obviously we're gradually moving up. So we're probably into maybe the next 2 to 3 weeks where players will gain full fitness. So I totally see where Ollie's point is coming from. Ben also mentioned Balkad had him covered, so I couldn't go on the outside. Broncos fault for letting the shot get away. That's in terms of the Cons goal. Okay, couple of comments now in terms of so fitness. Paul says it happened against Wimbledon, but the game was already won. Paul says as soon as Taylor went off, we played possession. And Mark says we needed some control in midfield in the second half. So we're running low on fuel. Archie Collins would have been a good option, but maybe not ready for it. I think I saw something as well, Steve, and Arnold, I don't know if you've seen about players still missing a little bits of pre-season due to their involvement of being transferred into the club. So like Archie Collins hasn't really had a pre-season. He's only done his own with him not having a club. And Luke says he thought the subs were poor yesterday. We needed more control in midfield after conceding. Collins should have come on rather than David Kasumu. Okay, yep. Steve, you mentioned to me earlier you wanted to talk about these subs, so let me go through them. First of all, Bojan Radolovic came on for Joe Taylor. We had David Kasumu coming on for Ashley Fletcher, and we had George Seabine coming on for Darren Silly Sanchez Fernandez.
So the subs changed the mentality of the game. So we took Joe Taylor off because he looked knackered. Although I think if you'd have asked Joe Taylor, he probably would have stayed on. Which meant we didn't have anybody to stretch the play because you're bringing on Bojan, who, yes, we all know his qualities, but he's very much like Fletcher. Neither of them are particularly very quick, although I actually think Bojan is quicker than Fletcher. But neither of them, can stretch the play really. And it was then left to DSF to do that. Then you bring Fletcher off for Kasumu, which ultimately means then we're left with one striker on the pitch. Again, that left Bojan isolated. You bring Kasumu on, but that ultimately means then we go defensive because although he adds more energy into the midfield, it doesn't necessarily add control. I would have liked to have seen Archie Collins come in and Ledson go off because I didn't think particularly Ledson. I'm not going to get onto a Ledson bashing train, but he had a poor game, I thought. Not like a really poor game, but there were a number of times where he made the wrong pass, although he did make the pass that got Taylor the goal. So I didn't like that substitution because I thought it meant that we sat back 10 more yards because we brought Kasumu on, which although Harness then went further forward, it still meant that Bojan was isolated. And then the third sub where DSF went off and we brought on, who did we bring on? Seabine. Yeah, so although he brought on Seabine, again, you might as well have just left Fletcher on because, again, Seabine, although he's young and he's got, decent energy, again, he's not very fast. He's not particularly quick. So I didn't like the subs. I thought that they were the wrong subs at the wrong time and they were the wrong type of personnel to bring on and take off, which then ultimately meant that we conceded a bit of pitch ground to MK Dons, which meant that they could again put us under pressure, which left us really the only chance that we had was Bojan flicking it on to try and get Seabine in, but he wasn't quick enough to really make any difference up there. Not Seabine's fault. I just thought the subs were poor.
Okay, Ollie, what did you make of the subs and what Steve had just said?
Steve kind of answered a lot there with a comprehensive answer. I mean, the only thing that I would add is perhaps maybe at this early stage of the season, obviously he's conserving energy for his players because it is an intensive sort of schedule coming up, as well as he's want to test these players like Seabine, for example, and test these, give them 10 or 20 minutes at the end to test them. But maybe it was the wrong call to do that for this game when we're only 1-0 up. So again, and it seemed like we still played the wide sort of formation as well. So I don't know. It's I kind of agree with a lot what Steve said then.
But we had no runners. We had no people that could stretch the play. You were asking Jay Sway to do it on his own on the left, and it was just like we became a very, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. So maybe the players didn't fit that formation at the time. Like I said, Jay Sway, that was his debut, wasn't it? So I think he played well in the first half, definitely, Jay Sway. But maybe the substitutions didn't fit that formation. But anyway, it's good to give him some time. Last 20 minutes or so for these new players. But yeah, maybe they should have changed the formation as well.
Okay, so if you're talking about changing the formation, Paul's just mentioned, did we go to a back five? I thought we did without the ball. It does seem that way, Paul. Okay, Oliver, if we didn't suit that formation, again, this is about opinions, so you're allowed to come off the fence here. What would you have done? What formation would you have gone for?
It's difficult though, isn't it? Again, I'm being on the fence because. That's why I'm sat here talking on a podcast.
We're going to put you in. Can your background be a garden, please, with loads of different in there?
That's a brilliant idea. I will get
a
nice white garden fence. No, it's difficult because it's like, what do you decide to do? Do you decide to go a sort of compact sort of midfield area? But again, we kept this sort of wide formation where we had the wingers that just couldn't do it. So again, I guess as well, let me just add that Martin Drury is probably learning from his players he's getting a lot of information about what his players can do. But like I say, we've said it before, that's why I'm on the fence with it, because if you go compact, that means we're going to wait and sit for it. But we've done that so many times. But then if we take it, carry on, and try and take the game to them, like I say, we just didn't have the players to do that at this moment.
So we don't really know if Ollie would have changed formation. No.
Well, look. I mean, if it was me for that possession, which obviously I'm not a football manager, I probably would have gone a lot more compacted, because, like I say, we didn't have the substitutions to maintain that high intensity, which is what we had in the first half.
So you'd have been quite happy to keep the point at the time, ensure we don't lose the game.
No. Sorry, this is before the goal.
Before the. So at half time.
Well, depending on how it was, the first 10 minutes, we'll say 55 minutes. See how we're going. Obviously, I'm spotting that maybe our players are sort of losing the fitness, etc., and then switching it at that point.
Okay, so quite early on, Oliver would have probably looked at maybe changing something else. Steve, what's your
I'm sat here and I'm not a football manager at the moment. So, but yeah, that would
not
be my
yet.
opinion.
Not yet. That's because you're a referee these days. But as soon as you retire, I'm sure one of the 4 teams in the Falklands will want a manager. I'm sure of it.
Good idea.
Steve.
Go on.
No, I was just going to say, what do you see about in terms of Oliver's talking about maybe a tactical change of formation early on into the half, depending on how it goes after the first 10 minutes?
I mean, it's difficult because Drury obviously has this way of playing that he feels is correct, but maybe Oliver has a point. I think if his subs had been better and his not tactical nous, but his ability to be more flexible, I think we wouldn't have conceded as much ground. So I talk about like Ledson going off and bringing Archie Collins on. Don't bring Kasumu. Don't think, yes, we need legs in midfield, but you also need to have control. Like Kasumu doesn't give you control. He gives you energy and he gives you legs, but he doesn't give you control because he can't pass a ball. Where Archie Collins, that's what he does. That's what he's great at doing. We've seen him do it at Peterborough.
This is the thing, but
because then he brought. Sorry, I'll go on.
After you. No, well, that's what I mean. We don't know what Archie Collins is going to be like. So is it right to put him the last 20 minutes of the game? Because like I say, he said he was good at Peterborough. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
Archie Collins was the right sub to make at that time. And even if you don't take Ledson off, you take, you could have made 2 or 3 different changes to change a formation or make a tactical change, which then wouldn't have left us on the back foot. And I just feel like, all right, if you take Fletcher off and put Bojan, that's fine. But you need to go to a 4-2-3-1 system or something that is slightly different from what we have, because we ended up, like I said, with Bojan flicking it onto Seabine, who we're never going to get onto the end of the ball because neither of them are quick enough. And you've got Harness, who's absolutely run himself. I mean, that lad ran himself ragged on Saturday because he was having to cover about 2 or 3 positions because we didn't have the correct structure at the end of the game.
Okay, let's answer this question then, because just before I go on, Paul says he was crying out for Archie Collins this game, and Luke seems to think we've got a massive score but not enough depth in positions. Need to get a few more through the door next week. Okay, is this a good is this a good point away from home, Steve?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
Oliver, is this a good point away from home?
Absolutely, we played very well. We could have had a few more goals as well. So, as we've said many times in this podcast, as long as the performance was right, I'm happy.
So essentially, we're saying that's a good point away from home. It's only the second game of the season. That could be very, very important. I don't think many teams are going to go down to currently Don't think many teams are going to go to MK Dons and get too many points there. And CW says, absolutely good point. Okay, great point, to be fair. Okay, positive. I like it. I like it, especially after the bit of negativity about the goal not going in with the officials. Jesus says, I'd have taken a point before the game. Good point on paper if we don't get autos off, reminding every man and their dog about this robbery, though. Ben, totally understand it. Totally understand it. Okay, next game up, though, for Town. They are away to Cambridge United, who is managed now by Neil Harris, which means this will be a pretty tough game. They've had one win. They beat Wigan at home 3-2, and then they drew to Bromley away 1 apiece, which means in the league they're only behind Town. They're still in the same points, in 4th place, 4th position. The goal difference is 1, Town is 2nd. Their goal difference is 3. So, Oliver, this isn't going to be an easy game.
I mean, fair play to give them a. I mean, there's only 2 games in. At the moment we're automatic positions, so
Take it.
we'll only. Yeah, but you can get, as we said last week, you can only get a benchmark after 10 games, I would say. But just going a little back to the point of there's only one team in the in League One that has a 100% record, and that's our friendly rivals Bradford. But Cambridge, like I say, we have history on our side. I don't think we've in the past 11 meetings we've only lost 1. So touch wood, I don't see that going
Last
down
season.
anytime soon. Yeah, I don't think that goes down anytime soon. But I see, Huddersfield with our performance in our first 2 games, we've got a good chance in getting a result here.
Steve, not big tough game. This won't be easy.
I disagree. Okay,
why do you disagree? You think it's going to be easy?
No, don't put words in my mouth. It's not going to be. It's not going to be easy. But however, right, the first game of the season they beat a crap Wigan side, right, that will be relegated this season. Wigan will go down. I predicted it at the start of the season. But honestly, they are rubbish, right? So fair enough, got a win on the opening day of the season. They've then drawn to Bromley, who a lot of people are expecting also to be relegated. I think I've got them just staying up from what I remember. So my point is, what do we look to aim to do in this division? The aim is from the board, although the board are not saying it, although Kevin's not saying it, and the manager isn't saying it, the aim is to get promoted. But why are we here if we're aiming to get promoted? Well, if we're aiming to get promoted, you need to beat Cambridge in this division.
Even away from home?
Yep. Because
well, wait. So should we be beating MK Dons away from home?
No, because look at MK Dons, what they've brought in on paper. They brought in somebody like Wintle from Cardiff, who won Player of the Season. They've got a very decent baseline squad that they brought up from League Two. They've spent money. They've got a very good manager in Paul Warne, who has been promoted out this division. So I think that MK Dons, although I don't have them in my top 6, which a lot of people do, I do think that they will be a tough nut to crack in this league. Cambridge, yes, have a half-decent manager under Neil Harris, who plays a very select way of playing. However, you look at Cambridge's squad, and okay, they could pull off a couple of surprises, but you would expect Cambridge to be at the bottom end of the division come next May. And if you want to be promoted out this division, we need to go to Cambridge and get 3 points.
And that's what Paul is saying. He's got to go beat the Bromleys, the Cambridgeshires.
Yeah. That's no disrespect.
It's no disrespect. Usually, it is disrespect from you, Steve.
No. Again, you're putting words in my mouth, Mr. Hall.
Paul says we need to beat these teams last season. That was our downfall. And Ben's go on, Ollie.
I know we're going against sort of protocol, but I just need to ask a question because you guys are there every week, in the heart of it. Do you think now that Huddersfield are shifting from this expectation of getting promoted to a more let's just get the job done? Because last season or the season before, I sort of felt that Huddersfield were sort of expecting to be in the top two. And then that's was a lot of the frustration. Whereas now we've been in the League One for 3 seasons. Do you think now that expectation is off and now it's just getting the job done?
We could be in this division for the next 15 years, and every season it'll be Huddersfield Town should be at the top end of this division. That's
Okay.
the way. That's the way the food chain works in the football league. Unfortunately,
Last season, sorry, Ken, after you.
Yeah, no, I'll try and answer this one. I think that Chris Markham and Dave Throwfall-Sykes were very smart in what they said on BBC Radio Leeds. They were pushed for what the expectation is this year. All of our expectations as Huddersfield Town fans are we want this club to go up. Of course we do. But they just want a higher finish than what last year was. I think secretly, deep down, everyone knows the expectation is promotion. That's what we want. I'm pretty sure the chairman at some point will come out and say that he wants promotion as well, but maybe it's worth just not saying anything at the moment because there's been a lot of pressure put on this club over the last 2 years, a lot of pressure. And, you know, we forget that sometimes that footballers are humans and pressure gets to you. Pressure gets to anybody in any job. If you get pressure put on you, it gets to you. So why not try and ease that pressure off? Stay away from it. Don't talk about expectations. Don't talk about where you want to be at the end of the season. Just get an improvement. Can we get an improvement? And anything after is a bonus.
Well, that's the thing I was putting on because last season, obviously joining this podcast, there was a lot of talk on the fact that we've got the highest budget, so we should be out of the league in an instant. That random expectation sort of put a lot of pressure on the players. So do you think that now that's lifted, as you said? So you kind of answered it there, but yeah.
I don't necessarily think it's lifted. But I think not talking about a big expectation is probably helping at the moment. I think the club is doing the right thing by going, let's just keep getting a good performance week in, week out, see where it can go. So I think, like I say, you put the pressure on, that's when it gets to you, because when you're not winning away from home against MK Dons, that puts pressure on you if you're saying we're going to be a promoted side. But by saying, can we get an improvement on last year, getting a point where MK Dons might actually look like a decent point.
I'm very interested to see, by the way, but I don't know what anybody else has thought, but I think Drury, in his press conference last year, I don't know whether he's had a different thought process over the summer, but he's very short in his press conferences. He doesn't like giving it. He reminds me of I used to work in rugby league, as some people may know, and he reminds me of some of the old sort of school rugby league coaches that just hated doing anything press wise, didn't like to talk about anything to do with injuries, didn't like to talk about anything to do with tactics, and doesn't really want to be there in terms of the press conference. And I feel like he just sort of he talks like he's not an emotional man, but I don't. He's just like I like him, and he doesn't speak like in a League Grant FA speak, but he's just got a weird way about him. I don't know.
I just don't think he likes being in front of the media. And to be honest with you, I think it's quite refreshing that when he just answers questions rather than how did you think the game went today? And someone goes, well, I thought the game was like this, and they go blah 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 blah.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, when I don't know if you noticed, but you know, like pre MK Dons, he said that whoever was for Radio Leeds said, oh, he talked about these knocks, and he went, "Are you going to tell us?" He went, "No." there was no like expansion on the answers. No.
Yeah, great.
Move on.
No. No, if you don't want to tell you, he's not going to tell you. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay, look, we're pushing for time because it's past my bedtime now, Steve. We've had a couple of predictions in, so please make sure you get your predictions in before I fall asleep this evening. Any final thoughts, Ollie, on the MK Dons game and the Cambridge game coming up? And predictions, Cheesy, is the game this weekend. Sorry, Oliver.
Yeah, not really. I mean, like I said, and ask that segue. But yeah, I think it was a good point. We played well, as I mentioned before. We had the chances. We haven't walked away from MK Dons thinking, oh no, we got absolutely drubbed there. You know, we had the chances, and like I say, it'll come if we carry on playing like that. Same against AFC Wimbledon. Obviously, we create the chances and we're able to convert. So I think we played well so far. Good start, definitely.
Steve?
No, I haven't really got any other thoughts, but apart from let's hope, we don't have any knocks after MK Dons, and we can go to Cambridge and get 3 points. A team that, like I said, if we want to get out of this division, we need to go and beat.
Well, talk about not putting pressure on players. Steve just doing it now by saying we want to get out of this division. Okay, Mark.
Yeah, get relegated, boys. Get relegated. I want to go to Salford City next year. Come on, up the boys. Me too.
I just like to really, and I love playing fishing with you, Steve. It's just a great laugh. Okay, prediction time. Mark says Cambridge 1, Huddersfield Town 2. Oh, Ben also mentions we haven't lost a league game since April. Pretty good going, if you ask him. You also
3 months.
Yeah, well, that's why. Paul says, I think we'll bounce back regardless. It'll be a tough game, but still think we'll win 2-1. What else have we got coming in now? Look at these now. They are coming in. Paul says 2-1 Town. I think we've just gone through that one, haven't we, Paul? Come on, Paul. Thinking I'm going to miss your comment? Don't be silly. Chigsy says Town 4-1. Love that. Ben 1-1. Town denied another 25 stone wall. Ben
will put another one in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, he already has done, don't worry. Cambridge 0, Town 2, Taylor and Fernandez to score for John. Luke says we've been putting teams like Cambridge to the sword. Start like we did against MK Town could win comfortably 3-1. Interesting, there's quite a few here where that I think Town might concede. Ben's second prediction, by the way, 5-0. And CW says up the Town, 3-0 to Town. Utabia says Stephen Holroyd, and Ben obviously with some laughing faces, of course. Okay, who do Steve saying 2-0 Town. Thank you, Stephen. Right, who do I go to first here? Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to go to Oliver first this time. Oliver, your prediction, please, for this weekend's game.
Yeah, Cambridge again away from home. Realistic prediction: Cambridge United 1, Huddersfield Town 2. You're
going for 2-1 as well, and Steve.
I didn't like the BBC operator there, Oliver. Love it.
Professional.
Professional, yeah. Cambridge 1, Town 3, and our old mate Elias Kachunga to score for Cambridge, because obviously, I was shocked that Ben Wild didn't score, to be fair.
I don't think Kachunga plays for them, by the way, Steve. He's
a free agent. Did they let him go?
He's a free agent, but it's all right. At least we know you've done your homework. Okay. Well, interestingly, a lot of people think that a lot of people think that we are going to concede. I can't see it happening, but good to see so many positive predictions. So thank you very much for them. And thank you to Cal, who isn't here now, but he's joined us. He's going to have a beef bouillon now down at his mini disco while he's on holiday. Thank you to Ollie. Thank you to Steve. Thank you to all our viewers. All the comments have been absolutely wonderful, as always. Thank you for tuning in on the West Yorkshire Football Show. It's been a Talktown special. Steve's headline this week was Terriers take a point as Taylor puts MK Dons to the sword. Well, hope you all have a wonderful week. And, of course, we'll see you next time, next Sunday. And until then, we shall